Excellent. Okay. Fantastic. Screen to screen, edge to edge. You guys are looking good. Thank you all for being here. You're all amazing. I appreciate you. Welcome to the Paint with Josh show, by the way. It's Paint with Josh. That's me. And I'm going to show you everything I've done to this canvas prior to what we've done so far, so you can catch up, okay? So it's a 20 by 24 canvas, okay? It's just straight out of the package, put it right up here. We took our Liquitex black gesso, that's an acrylic paint that dries very quickly, made this little shape, blacked out the whole area, let it dry. Then when it came time to paint this scene, we covered this area in our Bob Ross liquid clear. You can almost see a reflection of me or it on the canvas, right? Because the whole bottom side is wet. Then we're gonna take our Bob Ross liquid white, which is the sister version of this product, just a little bit of liquid white onto the same brush that had the clear, no big deal. We're gonna plop it down here and launch it onto our canvas and then really scrub it in. You have to. You can't just leave it up there too globby. If it's too wet and too nasty, it's going to mess up our painting. It's not going to be easy to work with. If it's too thick or too wet, it's gonna make our sky too slippery. And that's not what we want. We wanna work it all the way down to the white, so leave that section black back there. And if you get a little bit of paint onto this guy, that's okay. We're gonna let it crisscross across our whole theme. And that way we'll have some room for some misty fogginess. And you can see there's a lot of paint right there, right? Because I might have had too much on my brush for this little area. So let's just say you think you got too much paint on the canvas, okay? So what we're gonna do, since I already did our liquid clear and then I wiped off the liquid clear area, let's wipe off this white area. And actually, let's start down here so we don't add more paint down there. We can see how you can scrub that area and it becomes less distant looking because we took away a lot of that white color. Wipe it, wipe it, wipe it. Take off the excess color, you guys. That's all you gotta do. Now let's go through the colors we're gonna use today. Our titanium white, our midnight black, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, phthalo green, on our Van Dyke brown. The deeper, darker brown. Right, that's gonna be really cool. Now, you might be thinking, oh, there's done one of Josh's Oregon Coast scenes, but no, we're gonna do a scene we haven't done in a while, which is the big Oregon Coast crusher, okay? So that means I don't want to have too much brightness. In fact, actually, if we had our thing, let's just kind of space it out. If we had our little triangle back here, then we had the eye of our wave right in there, right? So it's feeding up, it's crashing over, it's down to about here. Then we got our water. So if we want to, let's put a little, it's there now. Now we're gonna have to match that spot. But there we go, right there. Right, so what we're doing is going over, then starting a little lower, going a little further over, starting a little lower, going a little further over, a little lower, a little further, a little lower, a little further. And that's how you can make, with your straight horizontal drags, that's how you can make that downward angle, right? You don't have to do everything or try to drag it down this way. That would be the wrong angle of our brush. But I think that's gonna be pretty cool right there. We'll allow that amount of color to blend into our sand, and then this will be blending into all of our other colors. So let's come up here and let's get our brush nice and clean real quick, just to show yous. And then you guys just gotta check in. Let me know where you're watching from out there in the night. Just where you get from out there. Should be a very easy thing for you to type in. Where am I watching from? Here. That's where. Right now. We know we don't have too much area to go back here. That's a big triangle, right? You can sort of see a triangle there. Flat along the top, got our angle going this way, and then flat along the bottom. Don't worry about being flat over here. Just pretend like it continues on. Right, but let me know where you're watching from. Let's see if we can read some comments out real quick, right? Where are we from out there? Ohio, Virginia Beach. Where are you guys from, man? Indiana? Sound like an owl. Boston, Portland, Florida, Orlando, Tennessee, Wisconsin, Georgia up in here, New Zealand, the United Kingdom. You guys, I don't normally have this accent. I'm just trying it on right now. Thank you guys all for checking in though, seriously. Now let's go into our phthalo, actually, let's go into our phthalo green. I'm gonna go into our phthalo green color right here, okay? We're going to pretend that there's a little triangle of dark water back here. So what we're going to do is put the eye of our wave about right there. Now we don't want it to be too big. It doesn't have to extend all the way to the sides, just a little bit of color back there so that we can roll up and roll over. That means we need a little bit of that phthalo green down in here as well. Small touch, let it blend in with that guy. There you go. There you go, guys. Right, now we'll come back in with our blue. And a little bit of our blue onto the brush. Go behind our little guy. It doesn't matter if you go up into your sky because our whole sky is gonna be blue. So it doesn't really matter. That's why we're kind of doing it this way. Drop that blue in between there so that it is a different color. You don't want all of this being the same color. You have to have a darker, more shadowy color in there. Put that blue back up into here. You can even roll it up into the night. It's wherever it wants to be is where it's going to be. Take that last little touch of blue, put it down here in the front. Just to there, just to there. Gorgeous, right? Let's load up, since we're here and we've got a dark color on our brush, let's load up with our Van Dyke brown. Right on the brush, put it right down into the deepest, darkest part of our canvas down here. Even with the blue and green, right? All that deep, dark brown, and then we're gonna let it intermix in with that white as we're dragging it upwards. And then let it intermix in with that blue as we're shaking the whole easel all over the place. And the more brightness that we do, you'll see right where our water is going to hit on our sand. That's gonna be fabulous, right? We're literally aiming for that spot. That's our little retracting water area. Then we'll have our dark sand down here. It's gonna look really cool. So now that we've got all those colors, let's go wash it off one more time. Just give me one more time on the brush wash. Okay, and then we'll be ready to go. This is why I normally do all this stuff prior, right? But I've been getting so many comments that say, oh, how do you do the beginning? How do you lay out the colors? How do you do this? How do you do that? So we have these videos called Literally Every Single Step. LESS, less is more. Literally every single step videos that show you how to do this base part on most of the other canvases, and then you can go transfer it over to whatever painting you're about to do. Right? We tend not to do them all the time because it takes up a fair amount of the show to lay out all these colors, right? Now we're going to our blue, right up here with a fresh, clean brush, and because our canvas is wet with the Bob Ross liquid white on the top, right, then it's going to slide and blend and move across the canvas and start to change color, right? Because it's mixing in with all this white paint. And the more that we mix it back and forth, down onto our little water's edge, pull it into the, across into our little mountainous area, and the more that we crisscross it, the more it will literally blend into a gorgeous sky color. Isn't that amazing? Literally. You don't have to do everything all the time. Doesn't all have to be the same color. You don't have to fill it in all exactly the same. That's my whole deal, right? Now let's get out here with a little bit more of our blue. Drop down from this side. Start to connect these areas, but let's leave this area a little whiter than everywhere else. And that way our white clouds will stand out and blend nicely against all that brightness out there, right? So again, we can't just have a sky with just one color. So let's get our black. Drop it in over here. Ooh, I almost want to put some up there, but we're not going to. Okay, now you can see we've grabbed a lot of black color up there, so I don't even want to continue adding what is on the brush onto the canvas because there's already a lot up there, right? So I'll dab off the brush real good on a paper towel. Start dragging this guy outwards like a clock, right? So out over here, over there, right? And then the more that we mix it and blend it, the more it's going to blend in and start getting darker. Mixing with those other colors, our titanium, or our liquid white area, our bluey sky, gonna go over our mountainous area, right? And we're not just leaving this pure untouched white. We have to mix it up, right? You have to go over it with your brush. But the main point being is there's going to be less paint in this area because we didn't do anything to start. Look at that cool sky, you guys. Woo! That's fantastic. Look at that, it's a gorgeous Oregon sky for you right there. Now, let's get over here with our titanium white. You guys check in for me just one more time. We're gonna get a good amount of our titanium white. Tell me where you're watching from out there. Is all you need to do, you guys. What are you doing out there? Where are you from? In the night. Fabulous, right? Where are you from? We're gonna take all this white paint, we're gonna come out here, we're gonna start pushing and mushing it against the canvas. Right, popping it up, making all these little weird little disconnections and little bits that are brighter and darker and all that stuff. Doesn't have to go the full distance. and you want to leave a little bit of space so that it can get drugged down over here and mixed in with all this other paint, right, as it blends down and across our mountain. So once we get up here with our 1-inch brush, or literally your 2-inch brush, right, I'll even show you, even with all that dark color that was on there, we just dabbed it off on a paper towel. Get up here with the big old 2-inch brusher and start mixing it up very lightly along the top, kind of like you're stirring milk in a glass, very lightly along the top, pushing harder along the bottom so that it blends out and blends away and becomes darker on the bottom. We want it to mix in with the sky color and the blue and all that stuff down here, and we want to barely touch it up here so that it does not mix away, right? If we push it too hard, it's going to mix away and be gone. That cool little sky out there. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, this mountain in the distance is going to look very far because it's got that misty haziness on there, right? Just excellent, you guys. So, you let me know where you're watching from out there. We're going to come back here with our titanium white, just pure titanium white, back there on the horizon. Going to make a little triangle out there, like this big. Seriously. So, where are you from? Let me know in the comments below, you guys. Minnesota, Peru, California, Indiana, South Florida. We got Hungary over there. We got Nevada. Excellent. Utah, Iowa. Remember to give me a follow, guys. We might have to restart this one, actually. Ogden, Utah. I used to live in Lehigh. I've got a lot of family in Lehigh. Love Utah so much. I was born there. It's my home state. I love it. So pretty in Utah. So, we're going to take our titanium white. And remember, give me a follow because we may have to restart the TikTok stream. We got some violation over there for something. Haven't said a single thing so far, except where you're from, you know what I mean? But if that doesn't go away, then we might have to restart. So give me a follow just in case we have to restart over there. Now, we're going to take our titanium white on a clean blade, turn it down this way, right? Flat against our palette like that, or your plate, or wherever you got your paint on. Scrape down a little, right? So we can remove a little section of that paint, just a little bit. There's a little roll out there now, right? What we're going to do is make in a small little triangle, but remember to leave a space in between your eyes. So, very small back here, starting on the downward angle first. Touch the canvas and then start going down, right? You don't want to go across your back area with a blade full of paint because then it's going to be too bright back there. You want it to be darker back there, especially at the very, very, very back. You can never see anything all the way at the very back, right? Now we're going to cut in front of this first little rocky mountain back here, and then we're going to add one in. Actually, we should probably do it right now because our big old crashing wave is going to come up into this area and then crash down, you know what I mean? So let's take our plaque mix. We're going to mix up a little bit of black, a little bit of crimson, a little bit of blue, about equal parts. Right? Equal parts, blue, black, crimson. Mix them up into this crazy, nasty, dark pile that we call Paint with Josh plaque. It's a very dark, purplish mixture of paint, right? Purplish, blackish mix. So we go purple, black, plaque. There you go. You're on the same page. It's easy. I have like the mental capacity of a 4-year-old, so it's fine. We're on the same page already. Perfect. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do is try to leave the paint pile in like a little Hershey's kit. Like try to have it be a pile, right? Don't flatten it out all the way because then you're not going to get enough paint on your brush for the next one, right? You can see how we've got a little bit of distance in that pile, a little bit of depth in there, right? Leave your pile nice and thick like that. And then we're going to come back over here, okay? We're going to get our Paint with Josh fan brush, number 8. We sold out on these fan brushes, but they are coming back with a whole brand new set. And the big news is you'll be able to get the fan brushes by themselves, just singularly, which is going to be really cool. So if you want a replacement, you can get it just on its own, which is going to be neat. Gonna be neat. Okay, let's restart the TikTok stream, you guys. That thing has not gone away. So if you're not already following me over on TikTok, follow me now because I'm going to restart here in the next 1 minute. And if you're not already following, you're not going to know where to come back to, right? So let's get all that darkness out here. We're going to come out and make sort of the same shape, just starting a little bit further back. So let's start up here, drop it down, just like that. Pull back a little bit of paint, but don't put too much right here because we're going to have to pull it with our other brush and that's going to extend it further backwards, right? So once we get our little rocky shape kind of going where we want it to go, then we can come back in, load up our brush again, start very small little taps, and then start getting taller, right? Making like a little triangle, a little pyramid of trees out there, right? They don't all have to be the same height. We don't all, I mean, you can't connect them all, otherwise it's just gonna be one big thing, right? So kind of coming down, 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 same thing, down, down, down on the other side to make a little triangle is all we're doing. Now our triangles have to start getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we get up here. So let's go a little taller. Again, go next to it, next to it, next to it, right? Off the same side, same side, same side. And then we're connecting, we're filling it in the center area to make them look like they're very far away. And if you do this enough times, right, and fill them in and connect them and pop up little bits in between and make it dark enough that you can't see through it, then it starts to look like a forest of trees, very distant and far away. So let's come up here, a little twala, a little crazy. And then we'll come down over here. Maybe pop up one in the middle over there, because you never know what it's going to look like. Right? We'll come down off of this side. Maybe go up a little taller. You pop one out over there or here or wherever and fill it all in. And it doesn't matter, guys. I'm telling you for real. And like Bob always used to say that. He's like, it doesn't matter. Just put it wherever. And I'm like, you know what? You're fibbing, Bob. Like, it does matter. You're just not telling us why it doesn't matter, right? But it really doesn't. After doing 2,100 and however many paintings we're up to, 2,129, something like that. Like, it doesn't matter. Seriously, you do make them all the same, make it different. It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't. Now let's take our big old brush, right? We're gonna come up here, kind of match the edge, so you can still see the edge of our little ridge or our little shape out there. Push it hard. Drag that darkness back here, right? As much as you can. That's gonna soften this area. It's gonna remain dark, but it's going to be softer here now, right? There's not so much thick, chunky paint because we brushed it. And that way, when we go over it with our crashing wave, it's not gonna pick up so much dark paint, right? But now you can see that that guy right there looks a whole heck of a lot closer. I don't like his rock shape. There we go. Looks a whole heck of a lot closer now than our guy off in the distance because of its darkness. The immense dark color, right? Very cool. Now, literally take it. And that's only on the rock that we're pulling it away. And it's just to make it dark. That's all, just to make it dark. Now on these guys, we're gonna go from the bottom of them up to the top, and then you're deciding when you're pulling it away, right? Coming up to the top, and we don't have to go all the way through, otherwise you might drag too much. And the more you do it, the more it's gonna fill in this area, and the more it's going to soften it for the next layer. These are reasons why we do these things. You don't want to have these looking chunky, right? These are not the focal point of the painting. This is background stuff. You don't want to see all of that, okay? Now what we're gonna do is, with a very rough touch, but only with the top of the brush like this, you're hitting into the canvas, hitting the top of the brush and letting the brush stop, right? Stop, 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 every time, okay? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna tap in, go down, just a little bit. We don't wanna make this too bright, right? So depending on the size of your brush, it may try to grow and get way too bright. And if that's the case and you can't keep it contained, then just get up in here very lightly, right? Just like we're stirring up milk again, mix it up, transition all these little guys up into the top edge like that. Boom, you get your faraway forest, you got a little bit of misty fogginess down here. Now let's just say, since we've got this big old crashing wave, what if all these faraway waves are a lot closer, a lot bigger, and we see more mist and more fogginess coming off of this little guy, right? And again, we're just literally but it's literally what we're doing, because you don't want to have it look perfect, right? What is a perfect little misty cloud anyway? It's a random bit of light and dark is all it is. And that makes a perfect little misty little cloud floating up into the thing. So what do we do? We put it on randomly. We mix it up randomly so it's not all the same, right? If I want it to be darker, I push it a little harder. That's all. All things are possible, guys. Literally. Fabulous. Gorgeous. Okay, now, let's get back in here. And we've left, as we come back over to our little mini triangle over here, right? You can see we've left an area that's about the size of a brush handle, maybe the size of your pinky, depending on how big your pinky is, in between the top water that's already lit up and the eye of our wave over here, right? Now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna end the TikTok stream real quick. So we're gonna make this out. Okay, so guys, literally we're gonna do it this time. If you're not already following me, I'm gonna end the stream on TikTok. I'm gonna refire it back up. So if you're not following me, follow me now. We're gonna cut it off. And I'm sorry, everybody on YouTube. I don't know why this happens sometimes, but it does. I don't get it. Make this guy a little bit lower. But if you're not already following me, you won't be able to find us again. So follow me now, and then we're going to end it in about 10 seconds. All right, everybody over on YouTube. You guys, I don't know why it does this stuff. It's so ridiculous. Like, what are we doing? And what is so wrong with trying to get somebody to go to my website to buy a painting? I don't understand why that is not allowed. Like, honestly, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But here we go, firing it back up. Let's see. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so we have the eye of our wave right here, which needs to be brighter than the top bit, which is why we don't use too much white paint, right? If we're using too much white paint up here, it's going to be too bright. It's going to be too close and too noticeable when we want it to be very far away. So we're going to take a little bit of our titanium white over here. We're going to light up a little piece of that green. Oh, we got to remember, we got to keep a gap in between. That's got to get smaller and smaller and smaller as it fades off. Now remember, no matter what we do up here or what it looks like, it's going to grow and extend when we start hitting it with our brush, right? We know that paint is going to move. It's not just a stagnant thing. As soon as we touch it, it's going to start getting bigger and start mixing in with those other paints out there, right? Oh, look at it. I can already see the amazingness. Let's get one more little touch of white just to have a brighter top side, right? Because if it all mixes the exact same, then you lose that bit of like transparency and depth and roundness. And what we're trying to do is just sneak it as close as we can up to the top without touching the other wave, right? Don't you dare touch it. Now, especially the brighter you make it over here, the cooler it might look. So all up to you every time, right? You get to decide, but you want it to be different. So don't blend it all to where it looks exactly the same. Now, let's take and imagine, right, we've got this thing that's rolling up this way, which is why it's on an angle. So if we continued up that way and then we start rolling over, we don't have to paint that part with this tool just yet, right? So let's imagine that we're going over this thing. Now, I'm going to do this, okay, because I can fix it and I can, you know, I can know how to cover it. You don't need to do this part. I'm just showing you that if we were coming up here and we started changing our angle, our wave would go up like that and then would start crashing over, right? This part is gonna be taken up by our next brush, so you don't have to do that yet, right? All you have to imagine is imagine that line, imagine where we're gonna start tapping in our little bits of our wave, and then we're gonna turn down, make a little smiley face, right? Just a little smiley face out there. The more paint that you have up here, literally taking the white very thin on the blade, tapping it against the canvas, boom, 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 tapping it. So you've got a little teeny tiny ridge right there, right? That way, when we wipe off the blade clean and we use that little ridge and just smear it a little bit, it should be just the right amount of paint to do, right? So remember, you don't have to paint this part back here because when we come up with our next brush, we're gonna dip down right in between those two, okay? So it's only there for a visual reference. And if you put up too much paint there, it might be too hard to cover. So try not to do too much, okay? I'm just showing you as a over-exaggeration for educational purposes, right? But you don't have to paint it in there each time. That's fabulous, you guys. So let me know where you're watching from out there. We're gonna take this one right here. We're gonna touch the paint roll that's already there, and we're gonna go over, right? Not straight down to the bottom. We are going down, but it's not straight. We're not pulling it directly down. It's a little bit of pull to the side, right? And we're gonna get a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Down to the bottom corner now, right? Now we're gonna start turning and start climbing up like a tick of a clock. So instead of being down here, then there, then there, then here, then here, right? So these guys, we gotta start going off to about 8 o'clock, about 8:30, about 9 o'clock as we get over here. And you can see it's such a small amount of paint that's up there, but it's perfect. We didn't add anything extra to the blade. We didn't do anything. And that is quite literally perfection. Oh, it's amazing. Now, let's make sure we got about a finger's worth of space in between these guys, because that's where our splashing water gets to come in, and we also have to leave a gap in between both sides, okay? So let's not do too much up there. Don't try to bring it all the way up here because of our next step, okay? This is when we need our liquid white, right? So I went in and grabbed some liquid white on that same old brush. Didn't even wash it, just went and grabbed some liquid white, because that's how lazy we are around here. And then we're gonna mix it with our titanium white, okay? And that, in about a 50-50 mix, should leave you with all these little bits. You see all these little texturous bits? It's very wet, but it's also kind of sticky in there, right? So you get all those little textury bits. If you don't have the textury bits, it's gonna brush out too fast when you go for our next step after this, right? So make sure you have enough titanium white and enough liquid white mixed in together, and then that way it'll be able to be brushed. If it's too wet, it's gonna brush away. If it's too thick, it's barely even gonna adhere to the canvas, okay? So what we're gonna do is take just the corner of the brush, go on top of our little white line up here, right? Oh my Lord, look at that. That is fantastic. Small little things, bang, 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 little bit, right? Then we're gonna drop down into that open area, leaving a space, right? It's because the paint is gonna grow when we start to brush it with our next step, right? Starting to cut up into our little guy back here, and then blasting it as high as you want, as far out, and whatever. And remembering that if you put it out this far, it's going to extend and grow even further. So be careful where you're putting stuff, okay? You make them smaller and smaller and smaller to go off to the edge. Very cool looking way. Now, let's go back in with our 1-inch brush because we're in such a fine, small little area right here. And we're gonna touch this like literally like as soft as possible and then move, because you don't want to stay there. If you stay in one spot and continue to mix it, you're going to mix it too much, right? What we want to do is jump areas. Jump over here, jump over there, push it. See how far? We literally got it to grow 2 more inches off to the side because of how much paint that we put out there, right? Very flat along the bottom, right? Almost the same kind of as this guy right here. Get that same kind of downward angle on this guy as we have on the top edge. Now, in a perfect world, like Paint with Josh, you should, I'm not normally like that. You should, in a perfect world, you should be able to, if you've done this part at the right angle, and this at the right angle, and I've only done it 2,000 times, right? So don't worry if you don't do it right on the first go. But in a perfect world, this line right here, this point of our bottom wave right above our eye, should tell us where to start our next bit of water, right? Our next little water line, that should tell us where to start in a perfect world, right? So if we draw a straight line across the canvas, it should cut through the bottom of our wave. Is that straight? Is that level? Yeah, right? Good. Should cut through the bottom of our wave like that and tell us that right there should be right where we start. So I can even leave a mark right there. That is a literal straight line across to this side of the canvas. That's gonna help with your perspective, okay? I'm telling you. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a lot more liquid white compared to our titanium white, okay? We're gonna grab our liquid white, and they call it liquid white for this reason, because it is very drippy, and goopy, and runny, right? We're gonna say that's about 90% liquid white, so let's grab about 10% of our titanium white. Rub that into the pile and mix it up nice and good. So you get this very wet paint, but now it's got a little bit of body. It's almost like a Dairy Queen Blizzard, you know what I mean? You could flip it upside down and it won't fall out of the cup, right? Because it's got a little bit of chunk to it now. So we're gonna take that small amount of very wet, very chunky paint, turn our blade this way, start in our area right where I said we would, right? And then start dipping down and down and down and down. Little steps. See what I'm doing? We're going backwards, coming out, going down a little bit, coming out, going down a little bit, down a little bit. And it's not a crazy, Z shape, but it's a lot of, almost like a watch gear, the little gears in a clock. So like, little movements, okay? Let's go back, get some more paint, attach it, start pushing it, pushing it, pushing it, harder, harder, harder as we go down, making this same angle right here. So it'll be like train tracks, right? Parallel lines, and it'll happen automatically if you've got this guy in the right spot and you start over here in the right spot. Now, just because we started up here doesn't mean we can't extend it out further, right? We can come out further up here. And that way, you can pull it down and leave more area in between where your wave is and where your water is, like the front of where your water is anyway. Right? There has to be some amount of water that the wave is already crashing on as it gets pulled back and rotated up and in. Right? So then we get to decide, what do we want our little front edge to look like? How far do you want it to come outward? How much space is in between the front of the water and the crashing water? And if you can leave little areas, right? Little bits of darkness, little bits that are different is all we need. differences out there, right? Little different things in the water. The water's edge. Little different bits, right? So we come out here, come over there, we can do whatever we wanna do, my friends. Literally, how much do you wanna have on your little crashing, smashing wave? And it's all up to you every time. Let's bring this guy down a little bit more. A little bit more. There, right onto our sand. Now, I've got all this excess paint behind my little front ridge, Josh. What do I do with all this nonsense down here, good sir? Well, madam, let me just tell you. Let me tell you what we're going to do with that stuff, okay? We're going to wipe off our fan brush so it doesn't have any paint on it. I mean, very, very small amount of paint. You guys are just going to check in one time. Boop, just let me know where you're watching from out there in the world, in the country, around the globe. Let me know. And we're going to start thinking about a clock again. Remember how I was talking about the clock over here? We were talking about the gears of a clock over there. So we're going to talk about our noon being up here versus our 3, maybe 3:15, 3:30, maybe. Depends on how far your little line came down over here, right? And we're going to start pulling them out in directions and start clicking in like a clock would the further we get over to the side. All right, so we're going to start dragging this paint. Just take it and kind of pull it off to the edge. See how I'm not even making it connect? I don't need it all to connect. All right, come out here. Very flat, getting a little bit more rounded now, right? So we've got very flat, guys, and it's going click, 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 all the way up. And the more that we come in here, the more we're starting further away, starting down our little runway like an airplane, and then rolling up and pitching up, leaving a little dark area in between, right? The eye of our wave, the crashing part of our thing. And it doesn't have to be so tremendously large, but you don't want to lose that spot. If you lose that darkness in there, you lose all the depth in your wave, and it's no fun. It's no fun. So keep that little area back there. That's the barrel, right? And then we can decide how far we want to have these guys climb up. I'm going to streak it up, push it through, make one longer than the other, have them be little shadows inside of our guy, right? But you have to roll backwards before going just diagonally straight, right? It's not like this. It's got this whole thing that started way back here, ran down, and then took off like an airplane, right? You got to think about that. You got to have it taken off like a plane. You can even extend these guys up a little further if you wanted to, right? It's all up to you. That's why we put that darker blue in there so that these two greens had something in between them, right? Very, very cool. Now, let's take our liquid white again. This is why they call it liquid white. It's very drippy and very runny versus like our titanium white, right? Would never fall off. Even if I scraped up that whole thing, it would never fall off the blade like that. So take our titanium white, just like adding extra gravy mix to the gravy to thicken it up a little bit, right? So all we're doing with that titanium white is just kind of thickening up our very runny liquid white paint in its consistency, just changing it a little bit. All right, now we've got about our 90-10 mix, and we're gonna light up this whole bottom area down here however we want. Now there's two different ways to do this, right? You can get a good little roll of paint. You can come out here and do the little thing like we were before, where we had it out like this, and we were kind of scraping it along and staying just a little gap in between, staying out there like that, pushing it and mushing it, and you can do both of those things, right? You can do it just like that. Or you can get over here, and you can start pulling down with your liquid white, titanium white on the blade, right? So you scoop up a little bit, come over here and you pull it down. I think that some people find this to be easier to do, but just to show you, we'll wipe off the blade over here. It's the same amount of paint doing it both ways, right? So it doesn't matter which way you do it. Whichever is easiest for you, it should be the way that you should be doing it, right? We'll come over here, we're gonna pull down on this guy. And remember, guys, you can grab this painting if you go to paintwithjosh.com. It's over there. And all you got to do is be the first one to grab it, right? We're putting more on the right, less on the left. That way we'll have a bigger space and continue this downward angle over there, okay? So let's grab our big old 2-inch brush, and we're going to get out here. Dab off your 2-inch brush real good, or clean it off, you know what I mean? Again, you guys know me, I'm very lazy. I don't like cleaning off the brush too much. So I might just rub it on paper towel till it looks good to me. All right, we'll come up here, we're gonna grab it, pull it down, pull it down, pull it down. Just like a little waterfall out there. And normally when I do go viral, it's on videos like this, and I'm usually asking you guys, does this look like wet sandy beach to you? If not, just let me know what you think it looks like in the comments below. Waterfall, ice cliff, the wall from Game of Thrones, what's it look like to you? Tell me now, tell me now. Man, that's gorgeous, look at that wave. You guys haven't got this one yet? That is just straight wild. Wild that this one is still available. Looks like a waterfall, I appreciate it. How do you get the curve? Well, you can always go back and watch the full-length tutorial. We're also simulcasting to the tube right now as well. So you'll be able to go back and rewatch this one, basically. Now, let's take this. You guys, a lot of you guys have said waterfall. So let's come in here and take all of those little vertical streaky poos and turn them into horizontal streaky poos. And then you tell me, I know nobody likes a streaky poo, but you tell me, does it look more like that wet, sandy-ish, beachy area now, especially if you leave it darker back here. So you can come in with our last, or one of our last little steps, which is hiding that shininess in a little bit of sea foam, little line, little thing, whatever, right? Doesn't even have to be the same. It doesn't have to match the angle. It doesn't have to be bright. It doesn't have to be thick. It doesn't have, that's my favorite part about paint with Josh Paint. It doesn't have to do anything. We can do whatever we want, right? Nothing has to be anything. Take the little edge, we're gonna slide it back just a little bit, just straight sideways, right? We're pulling it down on this angle so that we can pull it off right to the side, 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 side. Don't try to get crazy on me. Don't you pull it back towards that wave. Don't you do it. You pull it over to the side. There. Just like that. Fabulous. Does that not look like more like sandy, wet, watery beach now? Just yes or no. Did I blow your minds? Just yes or no. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And we're almost finished, right? We gotta connect. Well, not connect, but make our line here very small. Then we're gonna throw in our speckly water, so our splash that's hitting and all of that. Then we're gonna do our little sand. So you guys check in one more time because the show's almost over. So just check in one more time, and then after you check in, start thinking about what you might want to call this painting. Right? The more that we scrub this paint down here, down closer, and make it smaller, right? The more it's gonna look like that dark space is a little shadowy lip underneath our wave that's crashing down and rolling towards us, right? If it's too big, it looks a little funky. If it's too small and you lose it and you actually hit and both of these colors touch, then it's gonna be very hard to tell what is land and what is water. So try not to lose your dark separation. So we scrape it down, scrape it down, scrape it down, little bits, right? We can decide then, do we want to have any little bits back in here, our little details that we can roll backwards and slide up our wave, keeping in mind that we're going into a shadow right there, so it doesn't have to be too bright. And if you put on too many little things, then you got to keep putting on more little things and more little things, and it becomes all too white, right? So try, if you're going to put any little bits on there, to not put on too much. Okay? It gets very fun. You're like, ooh, that looks cool. I'll do some more. Ooh, that looks cool. I'll do more. I'll do more. And then, now it's too white. You can't even see your original water color anymore. And if you want to have any little details back in here, right, little scrapers, you got to put them on horizontal lines. So if I wanted to have something back here, I got to go way over here, right, and drop that horizontal line on there, these little bits. Very, very cool. Guys, that one looks fantastic. So start coming up with a title for this one. If you purchase it during the show, you get to choose the title forever, right? Because, oh, did it just go? Are you kidding me? Are you just joking? Mike, my dude. Hang on. I got a noisemaker for that. Woo! You're like Goofy falling down a well. Hang on. Woo! Just fall down. So thank you, Mike. I appreciate you, my guy. Looking amazing, but we still got a couple things left to do on it. Okay. What we're gonna do is grab our liquid white just pure liquid white, right? Right there on the brush, right? Don't try to scoop it with this thing and then flick it. That's gonna be too much. So get it onto the brush, tap it onto the blade like this, okay? Just like that, tapping both sides, making sure that there's not too much paint in there. And then we're gonna come up toward, and always test it off your canvas, right? Just to see how much is in there. If you have too much paint inside here, it will not flick very well. You want the bristles to flow freely and singularly, right? That way when we come out here, we get very close and we start spritzing off all that little water. Oh, look at those details. Oh, the details. The devil is in the details. Look at that. Holy cow. Woo! It's fantastic. Look at it. Look at all those sprays. It's fantastic. So literally we're just dragging through, right, which is bending back the bristles of the brush and letting them flick forward, throwing out little bits, and then we're rotating, right? So this one is very vertical, and then we're going off to the side, 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 side. Because the paint, the wave is throwing it this way, you also want to throw it that way. You don't want to come at it from this side, because that'd be like taking and spraying the wave with a hose over here. You're not going to be able to tell which way it's coming from. Very, very cool. Put a couple of them coming out of the barrel down there. Woo! It's fire! Look at it! Look at it, you guys. That's amazing. Right? Couple more little bits, little spray bits. You can put them down underneath, especially right in here, because it will reflect down onto that area of our water. And then back up about 8 inches, 10 inches away. Spray in a couple down into our sand. You don't need to put too many down there, but it's going to cover over a little bit of that darker brown color that we had and look like our dark Oregon sand out here. Fantastic. Mike, my dude. Yeah! I like that one. This one came out great. So, everybody start coming up with a title for it. Mike, my guy, has to pick the title. I don't have to pick the title anymore. Since Mike grabbed it during the live show, he gets to choose the title. So, you guys come up with titles, and then Mike will pick a title, and then he'll come back and tell us the title, and then we'll put it on the canvas on the back. So, what a great painting. It's been a minute. I was looking, first, it's been over a month since we've done an Oregon coast scene going in this direction. It's been over a month since we did that. But that was a newer Oregon coast one versus the older style with the big waves like this one, right? Which a lot of people love, the big crashing wave. So I was like, you know what? We'll go with the big crasher with the Oregon, and we'll see. We'll see if somebody wants it, and they very well did. I like this one. Yeah, look at that wave. Look at that wave. Serenity. Someone said Arizona Desert. Great title. Great title for the painting. I dig it. I dig that. Moonlit Tsunami. I like that. 279. Let's see. Sea Spray in the Morning. I like that one. Beautiful Waves. Into the Deep. I like that. Jade Shore. How long have I been on live? 42 minutes it took to paint this painting. And we've been going kind of slow. I literally released a brand new tutorial over on my tube. It's right there on the homepage when you get there. 14-minute seascape. Similar to this one, but on a white canvas. And just literally without the trees and stuff in the background, because they take a little bit more time. But 14 minutes. If you're telling me if you've got 7 minutes to do abs, and you don't have 14 minutes to do a seascape painting on a white canvas, your priorities are off, right? Your priorities are backwards, okay? If you've got 7 minutes to do abs, and we've got 14 minutes to do a painting, and you're not doing it, then I don't know what's going on, man. All right, where's Mike? Mike, my guy. So, Relax Raptor. This one is already gone, but you can go to paintwithjosh.com. Wait, I have to say it like that for the robots. Otherwise, we get violated and stuff. But yeah, go to paintwithjosh, and you'll be able to find all of my originals and other stuff that we have there, too. It's very cool. This one came out so literally fantastic. Mike, are you here? Do we have any mods here? Hello! West Coast Wash, Oregon's Breath. I like that. I like it. Right there. Okay. Is that you? All right. You're going to have to confirm for me the last 2 digits. I'm pretty sure it's you, but give me the last 2 digits of your zip code just to be sure. Just to be sure. So for me, it would be 02. Out here in Oregon, it would be 02 would be mine. So what are the last 2 of yours? Just to confirm. And then you're going to have to choose a title. Okay, that is you. Perfect. Okay, you choose a title now between all these amazing titles that we've got. In the comments section below, all these fantastic people are trying to help you title your own painting. Right? So you now have to choose. And then, if I don't see it the first time, keep typing it in. Emerald Breeze, I like that. That's cool. I like it. Very quick with it also. I appreciate that. So let's throw in the old bird family first, okay? We're going to sign the painting right here. Them old birds, the Paint with Josh birds that everybody loves. The birds are more famous than I am, guys. Seriously. Like, people will not let me finish the painting unless there are birds in it. Like, excuse me. Birds. Caw-caw! Birds out there in the night. I'm going to switch to my liquid white in order to sign the painting with because it's already very bright. Let's go down here for once and pop it right there. Fabulous. 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 Okay. Emerald Breeze in the day. I like that, you guys. Fantastic. Came out wonderfully. Okay. Let's see. Emerald Breeze. Boy, oh boy. I almost want to do another one. You guys know me, bro. I get into like a groove. I'm like, okay, I did that one, and then I have like a slightly different idea, and I'll be like, all right, I'll do that one, and then I'll have a slightly different idea on how it's supposed to turn out, and I'm like, okay, and then I'll do 2 or 3 more, and then okay, I finally like that. Finally like that one. That one's absolutely perfect, and that's how you make your masterpiece, right? Like, the more times you do these things. When I very first did this same scene, it did not look like that, you guys, right? It's all about practicing the same thing over and over and over again so that when it comes time to do it perfectly, you can do it perfectly because you've practiced it over and over and over again. Mods, are we on? I think we're 21-29. I'm mostly sure. 21-29. Guys, was that it? I could look on my thing. Anybody? Oh, my back. Oh, my back hurts so bad. There we go. Anyone, guys? Okay. I'll go. Yeah, 21-29. Perfect. Perfect. 21-29. Amazing. Calling it Emerald Breeze. I like that. You guys. Mike, you are the man. Paint on 11/1/2001. We're all going to go to paintwithjosh.com. Right over there, guys. Lots of stuff over there. Originals, merch, shirts, bags to hold all your painting supplies in, and all sorts of stuff over there. You just got to go check it out. Whenever you're not doing nothing else, whenever you're not busy, just go, go check that one out over there. And this one came out literally fantastic. So, boy, oh boy, Mike, you got a good one. So let's finish the tutorial so it doesn't run too long over there on the tubes. What happened? Did we kick the camera at some point? Kick the thing over there? This dude's a pro. Thank you, Chantel. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. But yeah, so we're going to end the YouTube stream. Thank you guys all for being here and watching the show. It came out absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see your version of this same painting. And if you go ahead and send that in to me, then I'll tell you how beautiful it is. And you can send them in on Facebook, which is @officialpaintwithjosh. And until I see you guys again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day. And blah, blah, bye. You guys, that's a great painting. Look at that. Look at that.